We welcome you to the Big Apple this afternoon, where a first edition of a new tri-state rivalry takes center stage in Queens. It's New York City FC2, a side desperate for wins, hosting the newest independent on the block in Connecticut United. We say hello and welcome from Belson Stadium. Sam Goldfarb here, thrilled to bring you all of the action. It is a pair of sides currently below the Eastern Conference playoff cut line that are desperate for points. A New York team, one of 6 sides without a win on the young campaign, and looking to kickstart a sputtering attack against a squad in Connecticut United that got off to a fast start, but has suffered back-to-back defeats and is looking to rebound here away from home. You get your look at the starting lineup for New York City FC2. It is 6 changes for Monday night's 1-0 defeat at FC Cincinnati 2. The big one of note, Arno Farnos enters the squad. The signed second-teamer makes his first appearance with the second team after a week with the first team. Meanwhile, Sebastiano Musu leads the line. He's partnered by the young homegrown Maximo Carrizo, and Malachi Jones returning to competitive action with the second team for the first time in 2 years. On the opposite end of things for CT United, it is a squad under first-year headman Shavar Thomas that makes a few changes as well. We'll see that lineup in a matter of moments after it comes on your screen. But it is a squad that is certainly competitive, a forward-thinking side. Keep your eye on Madranda, who makes his first appearance. We will see how he fares. It is an intriguing matchup here between these two sides. A New York squad that, as we mentioned, one of 6 Next Pro sides without a win. They've achieved just 3 points from their opening 4 fixtures. 0-2-2 record through the opening 4. They take on a Connecticut side that, as we mentioned, 2 wins in the first 3, capped by a headline victory at Philadelphia Union 2. But since then, back-to-back defeats against Revolution 2 and Columbus Crew 2. And there is definitely a moment of reckoning, so to speak, for Connecticut United as they look to get back in the win column. It's an interesting 11 for New York, one that is filled with academy talents and players of that nature. 27 different players used for NYCFC2, and that becomes 29 with Malachi Jones and Farnos joining the 11. Well, finally ready to get everything underway. You didn't see the Connecticut United 11, but it is a 3-4-3 setup, a change in formation for Shavar Thomas. Talking to him this week, he mentioned how he still is very confident in his squad. 3-1 against Crew 2 last week in their home opener wasn't an accurate reflection of how they performed. He feels they'll be set to bounce back here against a New York squad that is still trying to find itself on the young season. Well, our captains exchange pleasantries, and those leaders today are Peter Molinari, the 17-year-old signed first-teamer, his counterpart Alex Monis, the 23-year-old who is featured across the board in MLS and Next Pro, a former Chicago Fire Academy standout, now featuring for Connecticut United. It will be Connecticut United, as you see in the away strips, the black jerseys with the lightish blue numbers. This is a side that is in its inaugural season, a squad that was awarded an expansion club franchise in January of 2024, the CT Sports Group building it up, and now just the 3rd independent club in MLS Next Pro. This is a side that wants to play a forward-thinking style, has already had success on the academy stage, and has shown what it can achieve on the pitch with 2 wins in the first 3 matches. The question is, can they rebound after back-to-back defeats on opposite ends of the turn of the month? A 3-1 defeat against Crew 2 in its home opener on the campus of the University of Connecticut was a disappointing setback, although the confidence of this club is unwavering. Talking to club brass, players, etc., there was a massive conversation between club executives and players saying, you are still a good team. Just because you suffered 2 defeats in a row in matches you feel you should win does not mean you're not capable. This is a chance for them to build their confidence back up ahead of a run of 3 home fixtures bouncing between the UConn and Yale campuses. So now we are finally set to get everything going here at Belson Stadium on the campus of St. John's University in Queens, New York. Connecticut United from left to right on your screen. The visitors in NYCFC 2 from right to left. And we just wait in suspense for our referee to give us the green light. It is Colby Johnson who provides over this. A star-studded crew alongside him. And we are underway here from Belson Stadium. Connecticut United and New York City FC 2 open a new chapter of a new tri-state rivalry, the first ever meeting between these two sides. And it is just Connecticut making the trip down the interstate to head into the Big Apple and take on their regional foes. Sam Goldfarb excited to bring you this one. A pair of squads that could use 3 points. We'll see if either can provide them, as you see the first touch for Richard Houth, the product of the lower leagues in Germany, who makes his debut as a starter. Did feature for 18 minutes last week as a substitute. Here's Malachi Jones, who is dispossessed on the near side. Well, talking to Matt Pilkington this week, he was quick to mention that the attack has not been good enough. Only 1 goal in the first 4 matches for NYCFC 2. That's the least in the league. But he's also mentioned that this is going to be a process. This is a side now that, with the addition of Jones and Farnos to this 11, has featured 29 different players through their opening 4 matches. He's talked about how a big part of attacking in the final third is establishing relationships between players and consistency in the squad. And unfortunately, just due to the personnel demands of the first team in the academy, that just hasn't been a real possibility yet for NYCFC 2. They feel that as this wears on, they will start to establish those relationships and the goals will fly in. Matt Pilkington himself, you look at his track record, someone who 2 years ago presided over one of the best attacks in MLS Next Pro. So there's definitely room for growth, but he has shown an ability to make that growth happen on the pitch. There's a late challenge that allows NYCFC 2 to break the press. Well, there's the first touch for Mac Leonard, the 23-year-old. In his second pro season out of Sacramento State University. Now on a first-team contract with New York City FC 2. Or New York City FC, I should say. As this throw is taken quickly. A low cross in. Broken up well, rather confidently by Robbie Mora, who is the engine in midfield for CT United. Looking for Monis, and knocked out of play by Joe Sachecki. It's a late tackle there. Farnos goes down, but the referee waves play on. And here's Carrizo. A clever touch and an early free kick for NYCFC 2. On the opposite end of things for CT United, a fast start to their inaugural season, a side that has been built from the ground up, an independent club, just one of 3 in MLS Next Pro, which for those who aren't familiar with the league, that effectively means that they're not affiliated with an MLS club, so they have more flexibility to bring in players regardless of age and insert them in the squad. As here's Monis ranging in behind, was looking to shape up and shoot, but Martin does the job, and just a corner for CT United here. This is a squad that has gone for a bit more maturity in its ranks. A side that only features 6 players of their 22 listed on the roster below the age of 20, which is rather uncommon for an MLS Next Pro side. That experience and that consistency as the year goes on should allow them to contend. This is a high arcing in swinger that is dipping. Learned does just enough to punch it away. And we will run it right back. This one toward the near post. And again headed away. Taken short, Monis. Plays it back, an arcing cross. Dips with menace as well from Goddard. Tracked down by Kasule, who's on loan from New York Red Bulls too, and announced himself as one of the most dynamic wingers in the division 3 years ago. Since then, ups and downs due to injury and the rise of the likes of Andy Rojas in the New York Red Bulls ranks, but still a very capable player who has featured for Uganda's national team at the senior level. There's Madronda, the U19 product of the Connecticut United Academy. Farnos looking long for Malachi Jones, and he shoves Van Hees to the deck. Perdomo into the area with menace, finally away. Well, if you're seeing a constant unyielding press, if you're noticing it, I should say, it will remain constant, so get used to it. This is a Connecticut United side that is extremely assertive, out of possession. They counter-press high. It's a style that mimics Red Bull back in the day, as well as Bob Bradley Chicago Fire sides, as Carrizo here does enough to usher it out for a corner, just due to the fact that they do have a pretty heavy representation, player or executives with experience in those systems. Dennis Hamlet, the sporting director, spending time with Bob Bradley in Chicago, as well as serving as the sporting director of New York City FC's arch rival, the Red Bulls, a couple years back. And so all of that influence is weaved into the way he's constructed this roster. It's another corner here with in-swing. Learned punches away on this occasion. Malachi Jones cannot keep it out of play. And we will run it back from the opposite flank. All in all, though, when talking to Club Brash, Shavar Thomas, the head coach, Dennis Hamlet, the players, there is a collective agreement in the way they want to play. And the thing that stuck out when speaking to them this week was the game is built to feature goals. Goals change games, and so that's what they're in pursuit of, and hoping to be more clinical in the final third. Right now it's becoming a bit of a set-piece fest. Here's a low cross in. Mora back into the mix. Kasule. Van Hees. Kamrath, former standout at High Point, the Big South Defensive Player of the Year this past fall. He overhits it on that occasion. Well, for those that are just joining us, we welcome you to Belson Stadium on the campus of St. John's University in Queens, New York. Tri-state rivalry between NYCFC 2 and Connecticut United, the first ever meeting between these sides in MLS Next Pro. And when you look at the way the seasons have opened, for Connecticut United, a fast start, but they've hit a bit of a lull since. New York still hunting that first victory. The New York side that has battled so many attacking deficiencies on the young season have not scored a goal in 265 minutes entering the afternoon. Their opposite numbers, Connecticut, 8 goals to their name through their opening 5 fixtures, but talking to Shavar Thomas and club brass, there's an expectation that they should be scoring more. They feel that they're getting themselves in good positions and just not taking their chances. And the second that they start to flash that teeth required in the final third, they could start to blow past some teams in the race for an Eastern Conference playoff spot. Here's Farnos. It's read well by Van Hees. Molinari, U.S. Youth International. Goddard on the turn. Big physical presence out of Hofstra University, and what a player he was at Hofstra. Former CAA Player of the Year in 2025, and someone who constantly created havoc in the final third. Looking to play out at the back. Kasule is clipped at the heels. Pierre. Here's Kieran Smith, the Jamaican Youth International. Looks long for Malachi Jones, a former first-round pick in the 2024 MLS Super Draft. It's just good to see him back out there, a player who entered the league in MLS with tons of potential and was a regular feature as a reserve winger in his first season for NYCFC, but suffered that broken tibia midway through his rookie season and has had to have multiple surgeries on that leg to get back on the pitch. But he is back, and now a chance here for NYCFC. It's not dealt with yet. Jones driving it goalward and right into the gloves of Anthony Ramos, who does enough to deny a pair of NYCFC players. Well, this is a good ball into the quarter of uncertainty. Arno Farnos has a hit, and then you see Jones run it down and also ask questions of Anthony Ramos, who was in need of a pair of saves to build his confidence back up. A player that entered the night with just a 33.3% save rate through the last 4 matches. Building his confidence, though, with a pair of stops there. Martin giving it away to Laurie Goddard. What an NCAA tournament he enjoyed as well. 4 goals in 3 matches. Scored in that first-round victory over Syracuse, and also scored in that triumph over previously unbeaten Vermont, the #1 overall seed in the second round. He is just a proven goal scorer, and he's looking to translate that to the pro ranks. Just a goal to his name thus far, but it did come at a crucial point of that Union II clash, a come-from-behind victory in mid-March in Philadelphia. As the year goes on, I'm sure there will be a fair few more. Monis scored the only goal in Connecticut's home opener last week. Houth. Van Hees. Quarter of an hour gone, and for those just joining us, we welcome you to Belson Stadium on the campus of St. John's University. A score between NYCFC 2 and Connecticut United, a newly minted tri-state rivalry that begins today. And Van Hees is clattered by Kieran Smith, who will be the first man to enter the book for either side. It's not the finest of challenges from the 18-year-old. You just see Van Hees shields the ball, and Smith clatters him in the legs. It's booking pretty frequently. That sets up Connecticut United with a free kick in an inviting spot. It is the captain, Monis, who stands over it. This arcs in. It's headed goalward by Camrath, but right at the goalkeeper, Learned.
A yellow card has been issued in the 16th minute to New York City's number 52,
Smith.
Kieran Smith. Tarjeta amarilla en el minuto 16 para el número 52 de New
There's the
York
turn
City,
from Pierre, the
Kieran
22-year-old, who looks long for Malachi Jones. He slips in behind and awaits options. Jones to the byline and wins NYCFC their first corner of the day. We'll see what they can conjure here. It is a goal drought that has now eclipsed 280 minutes, not including stoppage time. The last goal they scored came in that 1-1 draw against Red Bull 2. Scored the opener in that fixture. Seymour Reed inside 5 minutes. Since then, a frustrating go of it the last 2 matches and change. This taken short. Jones in the half space, across the face. It falls for Farnos. Always rising and well over the goal. Well, those are the chances you have to take. Maybe Farnos's vision's a little impaired. There were certainly defenders in the mix, but this fell rather kindly for him and just got underneath it too much. The 23-year-old out of Oregon State, who built a reputation for himself on being an elite level finisher in college, likely won't miss that chance if it falls to him again. Randazzo. It's broken up by Madronda, who is a member of CT United's U19 squad. You think about the history of this club. It is a club that, as we mentioned off the top, awarded an expansion right in January of 2024 by MLS Next Pro, by a sport group based in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And over the course of that time, they built up an academy with players in the area joining, have competed in the GA Cup recently, became one of the first sides in the first side in Connecticut to qualify for the GA Cup last year, and built up a base of players that are looking to venture their way into the pro ranks. Jones. Well, fans, this portion of the match is brought to you by St. John's University, the official undergraduate partner of New York City FC2. 20 minutes gone, and we still await our first glaring chance. Although Arno Farnos had a pretty appetizing one fall to him moments ago. Learned. Smith. Farnos looking to bash it forward and does, and now there's plenty of space for New York. They're hunting the run of Carrizo. Randazzo. Farnos. This is Jones, who's been a big focal point of the attack early on. He continues his run here, and he slips in behind, crosses it across the face, and bashed over. It was a tough ball to control at the back post, and it just sails wide, but this is a really positive spell of interplay from New York. You see this cross come in from Jones, and the on-rushing attacker just gets underneath it. It appeared to be Maximo Carrizo. But early on, for all of Connecticut's pressure, New York has conjured the better chances through the opening half of this first half.
Now we go.
Farnos. Sprayed wide again. They're looking for Randazzo. Molinari. It's Robbie Mora there to break up the action. A menacing box-to-box presence out of Gonzaga University. Talking to him this week, he mentioned how the biggest attribute he can offer this side is his energy. Someone who is going to anchor the press, going to dive into tackles, and going to do everything possible to help this team win fixtures. Not shy about getting forward, but someone who is the base of everything Connecticut United does in their press out of possession. A side that prides itself on its ability to counter press and win the ball back whenever they lose it. This is a squad that is very front foot minded. Here's Kasule. Van Hees gives it away cheaply, and Carrizo onto it with numbers in support. Looks wide. An effort from long range. Just sails wide. You see Malachi Jones on the opposite flank. Maybe Carrizo should have slipped him in. Instead, it's Musu who tries to pick out the top corner, and he didn't miss by much. And another warning shot from New York, winning the ball back, catching Connecticut out. They look the more threatening at the minute. Gomez. Monis toward the byline, right toward Learned. So far, so smooth for Mac Learned, someone who entered the day with 13 saves at a 68.4% clip. Last season, double-digit starts, and you see him navigate out of trouble rather fluidly there. Goalkeeper that appears very confident with his feet as well, which is Something NYCFC asks of its goalkeepers at all levels. Jones. Cleared only as far as Molinari. Farnos linking with Musu. Jones again. This time whips in a cross. Smith. Carrizo just floating with so much creative freedom at the moment. Carrizo again. Molinari in space, looking for Sebastiano Musu, who carves out an angle, but shoots it right at Anthony Ramos. This does not look like a side that's only scored one goal on the campaign. They have been the more aggressive and more incisive side, but that is a late challenge from Carrizo, and he's just earned his way into the book. Two NYCFC players walking the tightrope for the remainder of this one. It's Maximo Carrizo, who just dives in, studs up through the back of Madranda. You don't even see him appeal it. He knows his fate the second he logs the challenge. The topic of conversation with Maximo Carrizo has always been his invention on the ball, someone who was considered a young prodigy from the minute he joined the academy. Became the youngest player to sign a first-team contract in American top-flight history at 14 years old. Yes, younger than Freddie Adu, when Freddie Adu signed his back in the day 20 years or so ago. He's featured primarily for the second team and has been impactful, but now at 18 years old, trying to take that next step and heighten his final third production, navigate his way into that top-flight side that has enjoyed such a strong start to the 2025 MLS campaign. Here's an in-swinger. Learned was off his line. Just a goal kick on this occasion. Smith. Jones. Runs into a thicket of defenders, and this is the CT United press at work. Van Hees. Question is, can Connecticut turn this success out of possession into actual chances on the other end? Because with the exception of set pieces, they've looked rather flat in the final third, uncharacteristically so. Is NYC that's been able to break this pressure on occasion and really trouble Anthony Ramos and company at the back. Gomez. Fans, this portion of the match is brought to you by Adidas, the official kit supplier for New York City FC2. Cross in from Madranda. Once again away. Musu was chasing that aggressively. Sucheki. It's a heavy touch. Perdomo. They look long for Malachi Jones, who is in acres of space at the moment. Just driving ahead. Splits his defenders and wins a set piece. Well, it is evident watching him why New York City FC valued him so much 2 years ago in the MLS Super Draft. This is a player that was electric during his time at a budding mid-major program at Lipscomb for 2 years. Double-digit assists as a sophomore. From there, earned his way into top 10 consideration in the MLS Super Draft. This is a player that once he gets back to full fitness and starts to find his shooting boots again, could be quite a problem going forward. 2 in the vicinity of this set piece. It is Musu. And driven toward goal by Farnos and just wide. Those two have been creative talisman for their side so far, in addition to Maximo Carrizo. Perdomo. We spoke a little bit about Matt Pilkington's track record, the only coach that NYCFC2 has ever known and has guided them to unprecedented success in the past. As you see the whistle sounds there against Peter Molinari. Someone who's not just an elite developer of talent, which that is evident when you look at the players that have come through the youth ranks during his time as an academy coach before being hired as the second team manager, and also just some of the sheer products, the likes of Maximo Carrizo and Johnny Shore is a big player that Pilkington raved about. Jones. Word that he may vacate in a matter of moments as they work him back to full strength. He darts past 2. Wins a free kick and a yellow card shown. But on the subject of Matt Pilkington, it's not just the players he's developed. As you get another look at this challenge from Mora that yields the yellow card. Someone who's also guided NYCFC to the playoffs in 2024. Something that they had not accomplished in their first 2 seasons. They'd gotten very close, but not gotten over the line, and then qualified for the Eastern Conference quarterfinals 2 years ago. There is an early change. It is the end of Malachi Jones's day. Likely on a minutes restriction as they work him back to full fitness. Earns a deserved applause from his teammates. He is replaced on that left flank by Henrik Vadum, who impressed Matt Pilkington on Monday in that 1-0 defeat at FC Cincinnati 2. So Vadum in as this free kick floats to the back stick. And you see Robbie Mora is the first Connecticut player booked. It's not an uncommon occurrence by a player who's not shy about sticking a boot in the mix. Smith looking for Vadum. Mora. And this is Kasule. Experienced veteran of Next Pro. Monis to the byline. Wins a corner. Connecticut slowly racking up the corner count. They have yet to truly test Mac Learned, though. In-swinger. Headed away comfortably by Smith. Tracked down, though. This is Monis. And this is tipping goalward. But the whistle sounds as Smith was upended by Lucas Camrath. Inching towards the final 10 minutes of the initial 45. NYCFC has been the more creative side, the more incisive side, but they still have yet to break that goal drought, which continues to elapse. Havadam, one of the many academy products who's gotten an opportunity this year with New York City FC2 not having a proven stable of returning starters. The bulk of the players who played big minutes signing first-team contracts in the offseason. And of course, their top goal scorer in Seymour Reed has only featured a couple times this year for NYCFC2. He's started to work his way onto the fringes of that first team at 18 years of age. And so the only player to bag double-digit goals a year ago is not in the fold. And that, coupled with the fact that Sebastiano Muso's got more attention from opposing defenses, and see a side that has just struggled to piece it together in the area that pays the bills in the final third. Smith looking long for Havadam on that occasion. Health away. Kasule. This is more up. You wonder, out of open play, what Connecticut may tweak, what Shavar Thomas may implement at halftime. Someone who has plenty of accomplishments himself at Portmore United, winning the Jamaican Premier League and the CFU Club Shield to make the Champions Cup. So, very decorated manager who's used to scenarios where the stakes are high. Here's Havadam, a deflected cross, and eventually escorted back to Ramos. Well, fans, this portion of the match is brought to you by Etihad Airways, the official airline partner of New York City FC2. Business end of the first half. Still no score in this newly minted tri-state rivalry. Sam Goldfarb taking you every step of the way from Belson Stadium on the campus of St. John's. New York wins this back again, and it is a 3-on-2 break. Farnos, Carrizo out wide. Maximo Carrizo, back for Arno. Farnos, a deflected effort. And just over the bar. Another promising break, and it's a necessary block, because if he has a clear-cut angle at this, it's probably 1-0. Instead, the block, albeit awkwardly, takes it over for a corner and keeps the scoreline level. You see the effort of Richard Houth tracking back in his first start with the club, and he makes an impact. In-swinging corner. It's dipping with menace. Knocked back across the face. And it took a touch off of a Connecticut player once again. Now New York is starting to increase their corner count. Had to defend a number of set pieces in the opening 10 minutes. Since then, have grabbed this match by the scruff of the neck. Taken short. Havadam into the mix. Camrath looking to bash clear. And everyone at the moment losing it in the sun. Havadam. Camrath out of play for another corner. It is a temperate one in New York, 45 degrees, slightly rainy, some wind as well. Not shabby conditions for a game of football. It could be far worse this time of year. A direct in-swinger this time. Goddard has yet to truly make his mark on this and has been left on an island for large spells. Now linking with Monis. But he's dispossessed on this occasion. Carrizo just runs out of real estate on this near side though. Carrizo. Plenty of room to operate. That's been a theme. Carrizo going at it himself. Just missed that far post. But he is really asking questions of this Connecticut United back line. And he has made himself a real nuisance for these center backs. Has them in retreat here and just continues to take the space and looks for that bottom right corner, and he did not miss by much. It's another close call for New York City FC2. And at a certain point, it just becomes a question of when someone will take one of these chances. Carrizo. Molinari floating it ahead, and they break the press on another occasion. Wide, Havadam looking for white shirts in the penalty area. It's cleared only as far as Smith though. And finally taken away by Kasule. Connecticut with some respite, but it doesn't last long. Just frustration as they look to assert themselves in this. And for a side that prides itself on its ability to play on the front foot, they have been more back-footed than maybe we've ever seen them this season. It's a New York side that isn't shy about possessing it themselves, and it is a New York side that has put their staple on it so far. Just shy of opening the scoring, of course. Mora. Looking long for Goddard, who tries to turn past defenders. Owen Martin assists his fellow center back counterpart in Sachecki. You have to wonder what the team talk will be like for Matt Pilkington at halftime, because at the end of the day, his side has been the aggressor, the protagonist, whatever you want to call it. They've been on the front foot. They've created the better chances, and on a different day, perhaps they're 2 or 3-0 up, but that has not materialized, and at the end of the first half, nothing changes. Still going to be without a goal, and that is the thing that matters more than most. It is a results-based business, and right now, the results have eluded them. Smith has been a key part in breaking this Connecticut pressure. Final 90 seconds of the initial 45 minutes. We still have yet to find separation. I think New York, regardless of scoreline, can go into the dressing room pleased with the performance. For Connecticut, there may be some work to be done at halftime, even if they find a way to break through. They may have a chance here. Mora across the face and driven home. Against the grain, Laurie Goddard powers Connecticut in front. It is a brutal break for New York, but they give it away against the press, and this is what Connecticut does best, winning it back upfield, and it's a simple ball into the mix. All Goddard has to do is tap it home. It is Mora, the press engine, winning the ball upfield, picking out Laurie Goddard, and Mac Learned can pick the ball out of the back of his own net. Connecticut 1, New York 0. Laurie Goddard, native of London, England, making all the difference.
Connecticut goal scored in the 45th minute, scored by number 27, Laurie Goddard.
So it is Goddard, the 22-year-old out of Hofstra University, someone who scored the equalizer against Union 2. And he scores again here at a pivotal moment as Connecticut looks to get back on track. We were just talking about how they were struggling to assert themselves. Well, assert themselves they have. Hovadam plays that cross in. Carrizo chasing it down. And now some space. Carrizo looking to respond toward the byline. It's kept in play. Knocked away right at the goal mouth, and Connecticut can clear their lines. It's just a minute. That separates us from intermission. Laurie Goddard was an elite level goal scorer at Hofstra. 15 goals this past fall in a CAA Offensive Player of the Year campaign, a first team honor as well in the CAA. And we've already mentioned the 4 goals and 3 assists he produced in just 3 NCAA tournament matches for a Hofstra side that reached the round of 16 of the NCAA tournament. That is one of the better mid-majors in the Northeast. It makes the trip down, the trip more east from Long Island, west from Long Island, we should say. And he strikes for the second time in 5 appearances. And that is where we'll leave things at halftime. It is a Connecticut side that struggled for large spells of the first half, but Laurie Goddard has made that all a distant memory by powering them 1-0 in front. Our score at halftime is NYCFC 0, Connecticut United 1. Coming up on our halftime show, one of the best player pathway stories we have seen unfolds after this brief timeout.
Boys hear sentiment, flow tastes sweet like cinnamon. Open up doors, I'm a gentleman. View top floor, I'm still sticking ahead of them. Running on fumes and adrenaline. Do what I do best, can rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions, trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next, just wanna know what's next. Man, I say it so loud. Don't worry about what next, just know we got now. Oh yes, man, I say it oh so proud. Don't worry about what next, just know we got now.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
We welcome you back to the campus of St. John's University, where at halftime, Connecticut United leads 1-0 in this tri-state rivalry. Julian Hall has taken the MLS by storm after helping Red Bulls to the MLS Next Pro Cup Championship last season. Let's track the remarkable journey of this rising star.
Julian Hall. Remember the name.
It's that man again, Julian Hall.
Cross goal, it goes in.
Mehmeti, has he broken through here? Mehmeti across, Hall!
Swinging ball towards the back post, it goes! Open goal for Red Bull New York, Julian Zakshevsky Hall!
Born in Manhattan, New York, Julian Hall found the game the same way a lot of kids in this city do.
I first kind of started playing soccer when I was around 4 years old. I would play a lot wherever I could, if it was a field near my apartment or wherever I could, basically. And I just remember, falling in love with the game and wanting to play as much as I can. There's a main place I would play. It's pretty popular in Manhattan. It's called Pier 40, and a lot of people go there. That's where I played with Manhattan Kickers. It's kind of where I really started to realize I really wanted to play soccer seriously and maybe make it professionally.
That love for the game turned into an opportunity, a move into one of the top academies in the country.
Julian came into our system at U14. I think he played about 3 or 4 games with the U14s. I was a U15 coach at the time, so I was observing those games, and you could see straight away he was a special talent. So he quickly got moved up an age group to play with the U15s that season. Made an instant impact with the older age groups.
The level changed quickly, and so did the expectations.
I was very excited to come in and show my ability, and I was playing with my age and I was playing a year up, and the intensity was a different level, I would say, from what I've ever played at that point in my life. So yeah, no, it's an amazing experience.
Chimueno scored off the bench against Seattle, and Julian Hall with the breakthrough! The Golden Boot leader rises to the occasion, and we've got an electric finish here in the U15 final.
He's one of those players that can get you up off your feet. Like, he's direct, he can take players on, he can score goals from inside the box, outside the box in really different ways. And, it would always amaze you how he would find goals in the game.
The next step brought a new set of challenges.
That was the biggest jump for me, going from academy to professional football. The intensity, the physicality, the football, it was all quicker than anything I had experienced before. And, I just thought I did a good job of staying level-headed and not being discouraged about little things.
Working to the midfield, now Gonzalez entering the box, across and a goal! Julian Hall puts the Red Bulls 2 on the board.
I was lucky to be coached by Ibrahim Sakaya, and Bradley Wright Phillips was there a lot of the time as well. They did a good job of helping me progress and helping me not get discouraged and keep going every single day and working hard. The coaching staff really mended me very well.
Like, he's always striving to try and get better at something within games and training. And then, why he adapts well, he's a natural goal scorer.
For Julian, it was about staying level and keeping the work the same.
Jules.
When you go to a professional environment, if you're doing the most amount of work and you're clearly working harder than everyone else, it stands out to a lot of people, and that can be something that separates you from everyone else. If you're a hard worker, that could get you to a lot of places, and I think that's just something that established me when I first came into the first team.
That work and mentality has paid off with the fast start of the season.
We're really happy with the way that he's moving himself forward. He has taken the ideas and has really shown that he is picking things up. Obviously, there's the attacking part, his ability to find chances, his ability to take balls on the move, to dribble, to go by guys, run in the box. The part that goes with it is how much work he does for us against the wall, how much pressing, how much sprinting, how much chasing, how much work he does to really make the game difficult on the other team. And so we're really, really happy with the progress that he's made. We're gonna continue to push him.
As he continues to grow, so does the chemistry with his teammates around him.
I've known Julian for a very long time now. I see the way he works in training. I'm getting to know him more and more, obviously, as we play together on and off the field. And then when I step onto the field, I know where he's gonna be on the field, what his positioning is like, where he wants the ball, left foot, right foot. And we're kind of growing that connection, which has been going in a really good way, and hopefully, to grow that connection even more.
Mehmeti, has he broken through here? Mehmeti across, Hall! 2-0!
I think it's just the trust with the coaching staff. Coach Michael, he's done a great job with us during preseason and putting trust in me to start the first couple games. It's a lot of credit to him for putting his belief in me. Obviously, I have to go out there and perform to the best of my ability, and thankfully I've got a couple goals so far. The goal is to keep progressing throughout the season.
Talent and work ethic have helped Julian's dreams come true faster than even he could have predicted.
I've always dreamt of becoming a professional soccer player, but I never really expected it to happen so fast, to be honest. You know, earlier that year, I was still just playing academy, and I was progressing well, but I never thought it would lead to signing a contract later that year. So it's kind of a lesson there just to be ready for anything, and anything can happen very, very quickly. You really just have to put your all into whatever you're doing, and things can happen. I think a big thing is just self-belief, because when I was playing in MLS Next, I was signing a contract later that season. I had no idea. I did not have a plan on signing that year. That was not in my plan at all. I think things like that can come from just you doing as much as you can, and things will just happen by itself, you know. As long as you're working hard and giving 100% every single day, you know, good things will happen. And, you know, thankfully things came to me that year, and, you know, you gotta be grateful and you gotta use it as much as you can to your abilities.
A great feature there on Julian Hall, who has set the world alight in MLS. Right now, we take a look at MLS Next Pro and our scores throughout the weekend. Crown Legacy continuing their red-hot start atop the Eastern Conference. They toppled Chattanooga FC, and then Ventura County in the nightcap on Saturday, falling on penalties to Austin FC 2. You look at some results Friday as well. Tacoma Defiance falling at home against St. Louis. That's a side still hunting its first victory as well. In terms of upcoming fixtures in MLS Next Pro, here's what's on the docket for next week. A Carolina derby between Carolina Core and Crown Legacy in High Point at 6 p.m. on Saturday. That is one of the banner matches of the weekend. And then later on, Connecticut United returning home. They are playing on the campus of the University of Connecticut at Maroon Stadium against Philadelphia Union 2 in a rematch. In terms of our standout moments from this match, Connecticut United is 1-0 up, but they've actually spent the majority of the game on the back foot. The halftime highlights right here and now, and it was a fast start for New York. A number of times in which they broke the pressure and were able to create chances, and Maximo Carrizo and company were immaculate for large spells of that first half. A pair of strong saves from Anthony Ramos to deny Carrizo and Musu, and then this other chance on the break. You see them stroll forward here through what appears to be Arno Farnos. He plays it wide to Carrizo, who starts to ask questions of the defense. And then Farnos had a crack, this effort just deflecting over the bar. But then it was this moment, trying to play out of the press, in which they paid the price. Robbie Mora winning it back upfield, across right into the path of Laurie Goddard, who will not miss from that range. And Connecticut United on 45 minutes taking the lead, despite finding themselves on the back foot for large spells of that first half. NYCFC more than double the shots of their counterparts who are visiting from the Northeast. And they have more shots on goal as well, but not clinical enough. And as a result, Laurie Goddard's difference-making moment separates the two sides. That is where things stand after one half of play. We will take another quick breather, and when we return, the second half from Queens. Stick with us. 1-0 at halftime.
Can't rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions, trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what
fun season of MLS Next Pro.
Wins it!
The unique energy of a Sunday night. Ideal for calm music, whispers, stargazing, reflection, and a relaxed environment. Sunday nights were made for this.
We welcome you back to the campus of St. John's University, where we are just about set for the start of the second half in this first chapter of a newly minted tri-state rivalry. New York City FC2, despite a strong first half, trailing Connecticut United 1-0 at intermission, a giveaway as they look to build out of the press, and they paid the ultimate price after Robbie Mora won the ball back and just cut it across right into the path of Goddard, who finished for his second goal of his professional career. That is the difference-making moment right before halftime that sees Connecticut in front. A Connecticut side that had suffered back-to-back defeats on the trot entering the evening. If they can win today and see this out, it would go a long way to rectifying that. Talking to the staff this week, they mentioned how they're still very confident about this side's aspirations. It is a team with plenty of proven players in the squad, and despite rotating, they have the lead, even though they've been on the back foot. New York, meanwhile, it was kind of a tale of their season to date. Many promising moments in which they've navigated to the final third, but they have yet to show that final bit of clinical finishing required. And as a result, despite a first half in which all of the metrics show they probably should be at least a level or winning, they find themselves behind. Matt Pilkington has spoken so much about needing that final bit of teeth in the attacking end of things. We'll see if they can flash them or bear them, so to speak, in this second half. So the teams will flip. New York will now be going from left to right on your screen. Connecticut still waiting to take the pitch as they get warm for this second half. For those that are just joining us, we thank you for tuning in here on the campus of St. John's University, here where New York has made some changes in an effort to rectify this. It's Maximo Carrizo who exits the action. El Hadji Samb replaces him. So it's just one change, like for like on the right flank. El Hadji Samb, an academy player who impressed Matt Pilkington last week as a starter at FC Cincinnati 2. He replaces Carrizo, who enjoyed a very bright first half, but he will exit here at halftime. So El Hadji Samb, a left winger, a U19 player in New York City FC's academy. He made his pro debut and caught the eyes of the New York City FC2 coaching staff. So now he's in, and himself and Henrik Hvadam, who both started that Cincinnati match on Monday, are both on the pitch together again. You wonder who the creative playmaker will be without Carrizo. He was probably the best player for either team in that first half. Perhaps the onus falls now on Arno Farnos to range forward and join the attack. We await our referee signal to get everything back underway. Will it be Connecticut getting back to winning ways and climbing toward the top 8 of the Eastern Conference? Or will New York turn this around and push toward their first win of 2026? Find out in a matter of 45 minutes and change. We are back underway from Belson Stadium. Sam Goldfarb thanking you for joining us for the remainder of this one. Connecticut spent the majority of the first half on the back foot, but they grabbed the opener after a cheap giveaway against the press by New York. Laurie Goddard on the receiving end of the ball from Robbie Mora and finishing with the ruthlessness required. And that is the only moment that separates the two teams to date. You have to wonder what Shavar Thomas's team talk particularly was like at halftime, because I think it would have been somewhat stern had the scoreline remained 0-0 or had they fallen behind, especially in that first half. But despite maybe a first half in which they don't feel they hit the heights required, they do have the lead, and that is a bright moment as New York strolls forward looking for an answer, and it is in to the path and knocked home. An instant response, Sebastiano Musu levels the scoreline, and just like that in a blink, NYCFC is even. An instant response. Sebastiano Musu just tapping it home after they surge upfield, a cross perfectly into his path, and for the first time in over 2 games, New York City FC is on the score sheet. The cross coming from the substitute, El Hadji Sam, the finish coming from Sebastiano Musu, and New York City FC is on terms 2 minutes after the restart. Musu, who scored 6 goals a year ago, as a key creative cog for New York City FC too. More of a winger, but stationed up front this season in the absence of Seymour Reed, and he finishes relatively routinely. It is a goal eerily reminiscent of Connecticut United's opener. A simple low cross into the mix that's tapped home uncontested, although this not off a giveaway. It's just tremendous period of play from New York. After a first half in which they did everything but score, it is a substitute who creates the chance required. And Sebastiano Musu, a 25-year-old native of Santa Giusta, Italy, making all of the difference. Blink and you'll miss it. Gomez, Goddard, the goal scorer, was looking for Monis, and it is broken up by the efforts of Owen Martin. Keep in mind, prior to today, New York had managed just 1 goal in its opening 4 matches. Matt Pilkington said he feels when everything gels, the goals will come. They've looked a cohesive unit going forward, and they've gotten on the score sheet despite a first half that went awry in the closing stages. Perdomo. Gomez. Mora was the architect of Connecticut's opener. This is given away, and numbers the other direction. Farnos playing it forward, now gets it back. Can't pick out Havadam. The referee will stop play. Yellow card is shown. It's Ibrahim Kasule who's booked.
Yellow card has been issued in the 50th minute to Connecticut's number 19, Ibrahim Kasul.
So it's Kasule who is cautioned for Connecticut, although the offside flag was up against New York, so no free kick in the offing for the boys in blue. Camrath looks ahead. Goddard giving chase. Gomez. Mora. Here is Kasule. Connecticut starting to press the issue more. Madranda. Monis goes down. Ball won cleanly by Pierre. This is Farnos. Space for Kieran Smith, who was a big part of New York City FC's build-up in the first half. Arcs it forward. Musu carving out space. And given away. Perdomo. Goddard. Is there a chance to break now for Connecticut? Well, it's stymied rather quickly. Pierre. Goddard. Already more touches in these first 5 minutes of the second than he seemingly had in the first. The goal was one of his few touches in the first half. Over the top now. Monis is onside. Gomez. Monis. Working across in the mix. A diving header from Kasule. Not clean enough. Tracked down by Mora, though. And that was always rising from Perdomo. For those that have just flipped the match back on, it's been blink and you'll miss it because Sebastiano Musu, 2 minutes after the restart, pulling New York City FC level. The substitute Al Haji Sam with his first touch, playing a perfect low cross right into his path. And just like that, we're all square. And that is the beauty of this sport. Things can change in a blink. Perdomo, Monis. Cross in, that is knotted away. Tranda losing out. And here is Musu, the goal scorer. Looks to send Havadam on a run, and that he does. Havadam squaring up Kamrath. Farnos on the turn. El Haji Sem. Corner on the way for New York. And it's beginning to look a lot like the first half did for spells, especially since this equalizer. New York just flashing that bite, that incision that maybe Connecticut hasn't, and capitalizing on a number of opportunities to counter. It is Arno Farnos who stands over this set piece. And it comes in within swing. Far too tight on the goalkeeper in Anthony Ramos, though. Goddard. Lone goal scorer for Connecticut thus far. Mora. Cross comes in. Learned read it well. Unfazed by the convoy of black shirts racing forward. But given away again. Monis slips in, Laurie Goddard in space, and he misses a golden chance to put Connecticut back in front. He had brace on his mind. It was Mora who won it back. Monis, perfectly weighted ball. There is a slight intervention there from Owen Martin, but he doesn't get in the way, and Goddard definitely feels he should be doing better with that. Just blazes it over. It was nearly deja vu from the way the first half ended for New York. Mora. Well, keep in mind that if this is to remain level, which the way this is unfolding, it seems like there's certainly another goal in it. This would go to penalties to determine who achieves an additional point in the Next Pro standings. In MLS Next Pro, it is all about putting pressure on those moments. As Al Haji Sam strolls forward here. And now forced wide. It is a much needed intervention from Richard Houth, who comfortably knocks it away. But it is all about adding suspense, and those penalty shootouts really do matter when you think about the small margins between sides that reach and fail to reach the playoffs. New York specifically knows a lot about that. They were 4 points shy of top 8 in the East in 2025, and that was considered a down year after finishing within 3 points of the playoff places in each of their first 2 campaigns. So this is a squad that understands the value of that additional point. given the thin margins they missed the playoffs by in the past. Although I think for them, with the way they played, they'll have their eyes on all three. They look long again to Sam. This time he doesn't time his run appropriately. Yellow card shown to El Hadji Sam for his reaction as well. Gomez. Still have yet to see him truly influence the match, but a very talented presence in that attacking midfield role. Pierre. This is Randazzo, the 19-year-old fullback. Escorted back to Martin. It is another new center-back partnership. There have been many of them for New York. It's a side that has used 29 players in just its opening 5 matches, including this one. Long throw forward. Musu into the mix, a chance for New York, and just over. Arno Farnos again finding the soft spot off a cutback, and again just narrowly missing. It's a great run from Sebastiano Musu, who already is on the score sheet. It does require a touch there for Farnos to control it, and I think maybe that's what puts him off. Now Monis looking the other direction. Ernesto Gomez cuts it back across, was looking for Goddard. Madranda has acquitted himself well. U19 player making his professional debut, and you wouldn't know it from watching his performance. Now Mora wanted Goddard. It was cut out before it reached him, though. Mora tracks it back down. Monis looking for Gomez. Better spell here from Connecticut. Van Hees, Monis on the ball much more here in the second half. Kasule cut out before it can reach Van Hees, but it is a corner to Connecticut United. This is, again, a much brighter spell for the visitors, one of their better ones of the night. Right as we tick towards the hour mark. What can Ernesto Gomez conjure from this? In-swinging ball. Doesn't clear the first defender, though. Gomez again. Floated in. This one more dangerous. Pavadam away. Only as far as Padromo. Musu. Kasule. Perdomo. Monis. Tries from afar. Can't put it on frame, but it definitely had McLernan's attention. Out of the press is where Connecticut's been at their best. This is their bread and butter. When they win it back, creating chances, and Alex Monis decided to have a hit, just couldn't put it on target. Well, fans, this portion of the match is brought to you by St. John's University, the official undergraduate partner of New York City FC2. We have hit the hour mark, and for those just joining us, it is a match with plenty of intrigue here. An early goal late in the first half from Laurie Goddard after a cheap giveaway in the press by New York. But immediately after the restart, Sebastiano Musu leveling the scoreline just 2 minutes after halftime. And we find ourselves in a deadlocked affair in this tri-state area tussle. And it appears we may have a change for New York. Kevin Pierre is set to exit, and it is Cooper Flax who will replace him.
Cooper Flax, he replaces number 15, Kevin Pierre.
Cooper Flax is someone who excelled during his time at Wake Forest University. 4 seasons there, scored 21 goals with 18 assists and 75 appearances. Back-to-back All-ACC honors, including this past fall, in which he managed 9 goals and 7 assists in a first-team All-ACC campaign. Has been a frequent feature to open this year for New York, but grappling with some injury troubles, and Matt Pilkington mentioning he's still working his way back from a muscle strain. But here he is out here for New York, as this is Farnos. Sam. Monis doing his defensive duties for now and continuing them. And he may be penalized for that challenge, shown the yellow card. It was definitely studs up. Certainly caught Sam, but was going for the ball. I think that may be what spares him any further punishment here.
In the 62nd minute, to number 13, Alex Moniz from Connecticut.
It's a ferocious challenge, this. Does get some of the ball, but definitely clatters into El Hadji Sam. And immediately apologizing, and I think he can accept the verdict of yellow, given that on a different day, maybe they look at that a little more intensely. Connecticut, meanwhile, is also readying 2 swabs. Barnabas Tanyi is one of the 2 set to enter for Ernesto Gomez. And then we're also hearing word that Dylan Lacey will enter for Rickson Van Hees. So double swap in a midfield-like role, although Tanyi is a listed center forward and someone who will replace Gomez, more of a creative 10. So Van Hees and Gomez out, Lacey and Tanyi in. That the double swap for Connecticut United. Bosch Tanyi is someone who's very dangerous in front of goal, scored that winner in the late stages at Union 2. Someone who has also played in the top flight of Slovenian football for multiple seasons prior to making the move back to the States. Before he can influence the game, though, he'll have to grapple with this set piece. It's pinged forward, and a cross comes in. It is just beyond the reach of Owen Martin, who had the goal mouth at his mercy. Inside the final 30. You just wonder what further plot twist this one has in store. Kasule flies into that. He's given the benefit of the doubt by our referee. Still prone on the pitch, though, Ibrahim Kasule, and it's a point of concern for Connecticut United. A player in Kasule who's very inventive going forward and has grappled with injury troubles in the past. Someone who 3 years ago set next pro single season goals record with 17 goals in a best 11 campaign. You just see he goes into this. It's a challenge from Flax that he has every right to log, but Sule comes off worse for wear. still being tended to by the physios. Former Ugandan international, 22-year-old, still with a world of potential. Was in the midst of a bounce-back campaign last year with 6 goals in the first 12 league appearances before the output started to slow, but him being available is a huge part of CT United's aspirations this season. And he'll have to leave for at least a moment due to the fact that it is a head injury concern. Played forward. What does Connecticut have in store the other way? This is Tanyi. Now the cross comes in. Charged away. And it's tracked down by Houth. Mora looks forward for Goddard, and it's cut out by Sachecki. Chance not lost yet, though. Farnos wanted the run of Musu, who now knocks it along, and maybe something brewing. It's a real opportunity, and New York has climbed in front. A spectacular finish from El Hadji Sam, and the substitute making a world of difference for the boys in blue. Terrific. They just build out of the press. You see Arno Farnos at the center of it all. Musu is so tenacious in this challenge and does enough to knock it along to Sam, and then the goalkeeper's just caught in no man's land. It's a mare there from Anthony Ramos, and he is caught out by El Hadji Sam. The substitute supplying the equalizer and scoring the would-be winner. And just like that, New York in front.
Goal, New York City! Scored in that 68th minute by number 93, El Hadji Sam.
El Hadji Sam on 69 minutes in just his second professional start, powering New York in front. He came into the match down a goal, with his side down a goal. He provides the equalizer, and moments ago floats New York in front with a chip ball over the reach of Anthony Ramos. And a New York side that has been the protagonist now holds a deserved advantage. It's the first professional goal for El Hadji Sam, and what a time for it. Someone who impressed Matt Pilkington on Monday night, and I'm sure Matt Pilkington will remain impressed as the final whistle sounds, regardless of how the scoreline looks at full time. New York, for just the second time this season, holds a lead, and for the first time has scored multiple goals in a match. Kamrath. Madronda. And now Connecticut must press the issue. This is a squad that fell behind against Columbus Crew 2 in the first half last week. A pair of goals conceded, did pull a goal back before halftime, but similar issues now rearing their head. It's a side that plays front-footed, but when you play out of the press, there's a real chance to get at them. And Columbus taught them that lesson the hard way. Talking to Shavar Thomas and the management staff this week, they mentioned how managing transition moments would be a massive key in this fixture. Fortunately for them, they've not managed them well enough, and they've had to pick 2 balls out the back of their own net. And now Tanyi stands over this free kick for Connecticut United. Can he pull them back into it? Required a much better delivery than that. And New York looking long again. Sam giving chase, and Sam getting there. Down in the area. The referee is unmoved, and it is just a corner for New York City FC2. Let's get another look back at that. It's certainly a bang-bang situation here. Would be harsh to give a penalty for that. Maybe there's a slight shove, but there's not much in that. And I believe our referee's gotten it right. Another corner here for New York. They have Connecticut wobbling at the moment. A third would all but seal it. In-swinger toward the near post. Henrik Havadam continues to chase it. From 1-0 down to 2-1 up is the storyline. Al-Haji Sam a direct hand in both goals. And New York City FC2, a side that has not achieved a victory this season in MLS Next Pro Play, is less than 20 minutes from doing so. They can leave the ranks of the winless if they can see this out or kill it off. Farnos, dispossessed on this occasion. And now New York starting to show some pressure. There's Cooper Flax nearly snatching it back. A late challenge from Sebastiano Musu there. Well, fans, this portion of the match is brought to you by Adidas, the official kit supplier for New York City FC2. Inside the final 20 minutes, Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action in the first edition of this tri-state rivalry clash between NYCFC2 and Connecticut United. A Connecticut side that took the lead against the grain through Laurie Goddard just before halftime. But since then, Al-Haji Sam coming off the bench and changing the match, supplying Musu's equalizer 2 minutes after the restart, and moments ago on 69 minutes, chipping the goalkeeper Anthony Ramos to power New York 2-1 in front. They have made the most of their transition moments, and they lead this Connecticut side that has yet to establish a degree of comfort. Madronda. This is clever link up here, and it's cut out by Randazzo. Mora. Driven ball in. Falls to the feet of Musu, one of these two goal scorers for New York. Camrath breaks it up. Connecticut readying another change. Ibrahim Kasule exits. He is replaced by a proven forward in Kawa Paishao.
Connecticut substitution in the 75th minute, coming on as number 9, Kawa Paishao.
Paishao has bounced in and out of the lineup so far for Connecticut United, a native of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Spent 4 years under contract with his boyhood side Vasco da Gama in Brazilian football and loaned out to a bevy of clubs during his time there. Only 4 senior appearances. But with Connecticut a more prominent feature, and they've slipped in behind here. A real chance to level it, and it's a tremendous save from Learned. Denying Laurie Goddard a brace and another big goal. Just see this come forward. Goddard 9 times out of 10, you'd fancy him to take this chance, but Learned just makes himself big and denies him from close range. It's a tremendous save, and for the moment, New York's still in front. That was Connecticut's best chance of the second half. And Laurie Goddard has been in a few quality spots since his opener. A pair of chances this half that on a different day maybe he takes, and maybe it's a different match. That has not been the case though, as our referee plays advantage here. Musu bundled over, and now the cards may come out. It's a yellow. And it's a question of to whom, because if that's Robbie Mora, that would be his second yellow card, but it does not appear it is him. He logged the second challenge, but it's the first challenge, which has drawn our referee's ire from what appears to be Dylan Lacey.
A second yellow card has been.
Well, they show us a second yellow card instead to Robbie Mora, and it is about the least dramatic sending off you'll see. But just like that, Connecticut is down to 10, so it goes from bad to worse for the visitors here. Robbie Mora, their midfield engine who contributed directly to the opener, now sent off on 77 minutes. And if Connecticut is to get back into this, they will need to do it battling the most adverse of conditions. That is brutal. Mora is a leader of this squad, someone who anchors everything in midfield, and as we mentioned, a key cog in their press. And now that they have to chase the match, this makes things that much more difficult. It must be said, looking at that replay, yes, Mora is in the mix there, but that was not the more ferocious of the two tackles. It really appeared Lacey's challenge was one that was more yellow card worthy to the naked eye, but our referee's made his decision. And Connecticut United will play the remainder of this one down to 10. Connecticut, though, pushing on. Perdomo. Cross blocked at the source. This is a big 12 minutes for New York City FC2 season. A side that, as we mentioned, winless in the first four, has really struggled. This is a huge chance for them to log that first 3 points and get off the schneid, so to speak. But there is a man down, as you see this coming together on the far side. It's Alhaji Sam who goes for the ball and gets a big piece of the on-rushing attacker. He's actually come off the worst of the two. Well, Sam is shown the yellow. And that is a second yellow, I believe, on Sam. So a sending off the other way for New York. This is just added drama to things, and Connecticut is on terms in terms of numbers on the pitch. So moments after Robbie Mora sent off on 80 minutes, Alhaji Sam, who's directly contributed to both goals today, has just been given his marching orders. And that has made the equation vastly different for Connecticut. Free kick results as well. Ball flies in, it's dangerous, all the way to the back post for Lacey. Cleared away. Well, how about that? A pair of second yellow cards issued in rapid succession. Mora off on 77, Sam off on 80. And these final 10 minutes will be very intriguing to watch. Connecticut driving forward now. It's cleared only as far as Lucas Camrath, who looks ahead. Cross cleared out of play for another corner. Set pieces will be big for Connecticut here. They go to the near post, and that's stabbed out of trouble. An excellent link up now on the near side. Monis is looking for a teammate. New York trying to clear out of danger now. It is Randazzo, Molinari. Now for those that are just joining us, things have gotten quite dramatic here. Connecticut jumped in front 1-0 on the stroke of halftime. El Hadji Sam substituted in, assists the equalizer, and then scores the would-be winner on 69 minutes. And it looked like everything was spiraling for Connecticut when Robbie Mora was sent off with a second yellow card on 77 minutes to go down a man. But that man advantage for New York lasted just 3 minutes because the aforementioned El Hadji Sam, who's made the difference in this match, has just been sent off with a second yellow himself. And things have gotten quite chaotic. It opens the door for Connecticut, and it adds a layer of complexity for New York. Tamrath can't keep that from going out of play, and a welcome corner kick for the boys in blue. A third would still all but seal it. We'll see how much they push on for it, though, now that they're down to 10 as well. Ushered wide. It's clever from Farnos, who has space to shoot, and he did not miss that by much. Arno Farnos nearly produced a worldie in the key moment. Farnos has had a fair few chances in this one. Has yet to truly deliver, though, as that ball for Goddard is well beyond his reach. Camrath. Madronda. Final 5 minutes back in. Houth. Terrific link up on the far side. Is there space to whip this in? There's no one there to greet it. Gives us a chance to let you know that this portion of the match is brought to you by Etihad Airways, the official airline partner of New York City FC 2. One final change on the cards, it appears, for New York City FC 2 as they look to see this out. It will be the end of the road for one of the two goal scorers, Sebastiano Musu, who was tremendous, scored the equalizer 2 minutes after the restart and made a real impact on the second goal as well. He is going to be replaced by Jacob Aroyave, the 18-year-old first-teamer who has bounced between first and second team throughout his career, has never featured for New York City FC at the MLS level, but has been included in matchday squads and formerly was a regular with this second team. He is now in to help New York City FC 2 see this out and secure what would be their first victory of the young season. They've gone from 1-0 down at halftime to 2-1 up, and it is a deserved lead, but as we mentioned, maybe more of a headache than they would have hoped, just given the red card situation. If they were to see this out, they would climb level with CT United on points, right around the 12th spot in the Eastern Conference. And that would kickstart a potential push towards the playoff places where they likely hope to return after a 2025 campaign in which they just fell out of the chase in the home stretch on one of the final 5 games and could never fully recover from there. Camrath. Madronda on his horse, and he does keep this in play. And now flips this in towards Goddard. Dylan Lacey tracks it down. And maybe an aerial onslaught from here on out from Connecticut. Loose touch. Farnos can't keep it from going out for a CT United throw. Lacey. Madronda. The whistle sounds here, and a free kick that is won rather comfortably by the Academy standout Havadam. It's just classic game management, this. Roams past Camrath, takes the contact, goes down, wins a set piece. There was no real hope at going for goal, given the situation, so he's able to win the free kick, milk more time off the clock, and New York can take the sting out of this as they look to get over the line. Camrath shown a yellow card. Smith. Farnos. There will be many interested parties looking at our 4th official in a matter of moments. About a minute and change. Excellent recovery there from Owen Martin. And one further change for Connecticut now. And it is what appears to be a double swap. Richard Hoff is one of the 2 to vacate for Andre Applewhite.
He replaces number 13, Alex Moniz, coming on as also number 22.
In addition to that,
number 4, Richard Hoff.
Daniel DiPolito, who was a star at Fordham in the New York City area, also enters for Alex Moniz. That is a like-for-like change on the flanks, and Daniel DiPolito, fresh off a sensational All-American campaign with Fordham, one of the best players in Fordham soccer history. And for those that know college soccer, that is one of the banner programs in the New York City area. Now he returns home looking to make an impact against one of his hometown clubs. Final minute of the initial 90. DiPolito for Moniz, Applewhite for Houth. And from what we're hearing, the amount of extra time may reassure Connecticut.
The 4th official on the sideline has indicated there will be 6 minutes.
6 minutes of added time separate us from full time as NYCFC looks to see this out and secure their first victory of the season. Connecticut looking to play spoiler and avoid a 3rd consecutive defeat. Tanyi. A low cross that's cleared away, and another corner for CT United. Dylan Lacey racing over to take it. Defending set pieces will be of paramount importance now. Lacey toward the back post, but right at Learned, and he will take all the time in the world, presumably. Lacey. Looking ahead, and runners in behind. Paixão, it's a brilliant ball, and a tremendous save from Learned. Comes off his line in the nick of time, and preserves the advantage for New York. Now a yellow card shown to the bench, but take another look at this chance. Paixão, perfectly weighted pass. He was trying to cut it across to Laurie Goddard and just couldn't do it. Yellow card is also shown.
Yellow card issued in the 92nd
to
minute to New York City
Molinari.
Peter Molinari. Tarjeta amarilla en el minuto 92 para el número 71 de New York City, Peter Molinari.
Paixão. Played that well-weighted through ball moments ago. Lacey, another chance brewing. This is golden, and Learned again comes to the rescue. He has been sensational between the sticks today. Mac Learned just keeping NYCFC in front, with them being peppered in stoppage time. About halfway through the added 6 minutes. A New York side that has been on the front foot for the lion's share of this one, but since going down to 10 minutes and change ago, they have found themselves clinging to this advantage. Connecticut starting to really ask questions. Goddard. Applewhite. Barbadian senior international. That time can't find his teammate in Madronda. Broken up by Madronda. This is Goddard, the lone goal scorer for Connecticut today. Lacey has options in the area, looks to play it wide. It's tracked down, clipped back into the mixer. That effort didn't have the venom required. Starting to see, though, the substitute in Barnabas Tanyi approach some dangerous positions. Lacey. Diving tackle, and it's one that does the job. Although the referee says it is a corner, to the chagrin of Kieran Smith. I tell you what, going in studs up like that on a yellow card is awfully gutsy, but he timed that challenge to perfection. Now another set piece to weather, 90 seconds from full time. Lacey again is the architect. Floating in, it's dangerous. Learned with the save, and again preserves the advantage. Learned with 3 colossal stops in stoppage time. This is a perfectly weighted header, but it's right at him. He doesn't know much about it, but he just makes himself an obstacle. And now another delivery in, and another save from Learned. Unreal performance from the 23-year-old goalkeeper, but still with work to be done. Paixão. That cross deflected and knocked away. Final minute of the added 6. New York is so nearly there. A first victory of 2026 is there for the taking. One of the final forays forward surely now. Lacey. Flax knocking it to a teammate. And it's just time to boot it long, it seems. Havadam racing the other direction. And trying to bypass his defender. Perhaps should have ventured towards the corner flag. this likely Connecticut's final chance. Tanyi with a degree of urgency now. Goddard awaiting support. Applewhite on the overlap, a low cross in, cleared away. Is there time for Connecticut to take this throw? And do they have a long throw architect in their midst? Lacey. It must come now for Connecticut. Not dealt with yet. Headed in front. Learned punches away. And the full-time whistle goes. It is hard fought from New York City FC2, but they do the job. They achieve their first victory of 2026 and come from behind to do so. A tremendous display for New York, turning it around after entering halftime 1-0 down. Alhaji Sam making the difference with his assist to level it and the goal to win it. And at the death, Mac learned a series of stops to preserve the victory for NYCFC2. It is now time for today's man of the match, which is presented by Adidas, and who else would it be but the super sub, Alhaji Sam. Despite his red card, which made things difficult in the final 10 minutes, he contributed directly to both goals. The assist on the opener, or the leveler, and then this winner just manages to catch the goalkeeper, Anthony Ramos, off his line, and on 69 minutes, that finish is the difference-making moment. His first professional goal is what wins it for NYCFC2. Well, that is where we leave things for our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew. I'm Sam Goldfarb. Once again, our final score is New York City FC 2, Connecticut United 1. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com and OneFootball. Have a great rest of your night, everyone.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.